There are a lot of versions of Classic right now, and there are plenty more coming out in the coming months and years. We have the obvious examples such as Classic Fresh, Mr. Pandaria Classic, TBC Fresh into Wrath of the Lich King Fresh, into TBC Era and then Wrath of the Lich King Era, then a new season after Sod or Classic Plus. Now, these are all pretty much guaranteed to a degree. Now, when will they be coming out? Debatable. Some could be 2025, some could be 2026 and later. But they're all pretty much confirmed. We already know that Mr. Pandaria Classic is pretty much, as of this moment, going to come out. We know that they talked about a Classic Fresh, and they pretty much soft confirmed that Classic Plus was coming in a recent dev interview. So the big question is Blizzard making all these game modes because they think players want them, or we're all excited about, for example, Mob Classic? The real answer is no, they're doing this because money. The devs care about you, the player base, and your opinions, but Blizzard the company does not. All they care about is MAUs. And while some of you hate some versions of Classic or World of Warcraft in general, to Blizzard corporate, so long as there is a game for everybody, there is more monthly active users for them to add to their reports. And that metric alone is what gets these executives bigger bonuses and bigger yachts. Because just like Bobby Kotick, who needed his 17th yacht, some of these executives do as well. So anyways, we're going to go back to the game modes, and we're going to start with Classic Fresh. Now, this isn't a difficult game mode to make, somewhat controversial, mainly because what exactly is Classic Fresh and how do the player base want it to be? Now, before I cover that, we're just going to talk about Classic Fresh a bit. It's essentially a big hit reset button for Blizzard. They just get to smack that button and let people relive that nostalgia for 2004, and for the people that missed 2019 to experience that all over again. And again, especially if they make it mildly faster, they don't drag it out for 24 months, they let people accelerate through it at a faster pace. And if they do that, they're going to get a ginormous player base. Now, how big will it be exactly? That's debatable. Realistically, it's probably going to be over 1 million, but probably less than the 5 million it brought back the initial time in 2019. A lot has happened in 5 years, and we definitely don't have COVID again keeping everybody at home to make sure we all just sit there and play World of Warcraft for 20 hours a day. But talking about that give or take million people that will come back for a Classic Fresh, how many of them will stick it out? That's uncertain. I assume a lot of people will play for maybe MC, maybe Blackwing Lair, but then quit by AQ40, because most people quit by AQ40. So of that million people, I expect maybe 200,000-300,000 people to stick it through all the way, and then some people will come back for the TBC Fresh and then the Wrath of the Lich King Fresh, because certain people enjoy different parts of that classic lifestyle. Nonetheless, Classic Fresh just gives the devs breathing room. So many people would play Classic Fresh, they would give them time to work on bigger projects like Classic Plus and actually making sure they deliver a good project. Because despite me having faith in the Blizzard dev team, a lot of gamers don't quite have that faith as of this moment. Now that's due to a plethora of reasons. People feel let down, they feel upset, they feel betrayed. Whether those feelings are true or not, that's up to the individual, but making Classic Fresh and letting people enjoy that experience while they work on other, better, bigger projects is essentially a really solid plan for the company. Now, Classic Fresh is probably the most vocally wanted game mode, not counting Classic Plus, and Classic Plus is a controversial topic because everyone's definition of Classic Plus is different. And I will cover that later on in the video. But Classic Fresh is very vocally wanted, and now that's not a good representative of the entire player base because it's mostly streamers that want it. And streamers in the communities talk on Reddit, Twitter, yada yada yada. Will we get it? Definitely. Are people excited? Definitely. Pretty much everyone I've talked to a degree, wants to play Classic Fresh all over again. Most people say they will probably quit around Blackwing Lair. A lot of people seem to dislike AQ. I don't want to speak for the entire player base, but that's at least the people I've talked to personally. And whilst Classic Fresh might not be as fast-paced or as fluid as Sod, there is a level of authenticity that you just don't get in a game mode like Sod. Classic Fresh is an authentic retelling of that initial Classic story and journey that many people love. So now this is controversial. I think Classic Fresh should have some mild changes. Chrono Boon from the get-go, Might of Stormwind. Now some of you Classic admins are going to freak out and say, don't you ever add that to my game? But all the people I know playing Classic Era want Might of Stormwind. And I say this to be very clear. They passionately hated the guild UI. They don't want that. But they all wanted Might of Stormwind. As much as everybody says they want the game to be hard and grindy, everybody's going out of the way to get Rend anyways. So having Might of Stormwind saved them so much headache that people actually wanted that. Now again, they want very, very few changes, but Might of Stormwind is one of the few changes people seem to want the devs to bring back. So now that we've covered Classic Fresh, probably one of the most wanted gamers, we're going to talk about Mr. Pandaria Classic. Mr. Pandaria Classic is a game mode that people are excited about. It has one of the best PvP versions of all of World of Warcraft. It's fluid, it's fun, most classes feel good. I know all the streamers are gonna go back, give it a wham, get to relive their glory days and just have a good time. But how many people actually want Mob Classic? Now when Mob first came came out back in its original release time, people hated it, they hated pandas, thought it was a gimmick, a joke, and whatnot. But people have come to love MOP over the years. And MOP is a good expansion, people will play it. I actually think it might be more popular than Cataclysm, and Cataclysm is doing very well as of this moment. But MOP leads to issues that come after MOP, for example, Warlords, because no matter how much you fix Warlords, Warlords was an unfinished game mode. MOP will lead in that direction. But for the 12 months or 18 months that MOP lasts, MOP will be fun. I'll be playing it, and I'm not playing Cataclysm right now because I don't enjoy Cataclysm. But Mr. Pandaria Classic is a game mode I'm looking forward to, and I know a lot of people that feel the same way as me. But at the end of the day, I have to be clear about this. It's not a game mode I really want the devs putting resources or energy into. I would rather they do Classic Plus or another season or something more unique and authentic to that classic lifestyle, because MOP, as good as it is such a far cry from Classic that it is not classic. The devs have said that a lot of people have played and quit in different parts of the game. So to certain people, MOP was the first time they played WoW, and to them that is classic. Now I get that point of view, but Classic is mostly about vanilla through Wrath, and honestly, it's mostly just vanilla. But that's a whole ass controversial opinion and take, so I'm just gonna leave it there and move on to the next game mode. And that is TBC Fresh into Wrath of the Lich King Fresh, which then leads to TBC Era and Wrath of the Lich King Era. But we're gonna start with the Fresh first. TBC Fresh would probably follow after Classic Fresh happens again. You would go through Classic for 12, 18, 24 months, however long they make it, and then you go into TBC Fresh. And TBC Fresh would again be slightly accelerated, a couple of few little minor tweaks to make the gameplay experience a little better, but for the most part, just TBC as it was the first time around back in 2021. TBC wasn't the most popular game mode. A lot of people want to skip through it and go into Wrath of the Lich King Classic. And TBC Classic is a good game, people are going to enjoy it, and I think this time around, more people are actually going to enjoy TBC Classic for what it is and what it means to the game and the player base than they did the first time around in 2021. But there isn't really much to say here. People want TBC Fresh, and they want to be able to stay in TBC and continue to play that version of the game continuously. They don't want to go to Wrath, they don't want to go back to Classic, they want a TBC Era server where they can continuously over and over and over again play the Burning Crusade. And for all of these players, I think they should definitely be given one PvP, one PV server, heck maybe two of each, just to make sure those players have that room to breathe and play. And honestly, they should add a TBC hardcore server, because honestly, why not? It's fun for Classic, it might be fun for TBC. We'd have to wait and see how that plays and pans out. Now, Wrath of the Lich King was and is one of the most amazing and iconic expansions and just MMOs ever to be. And a lot of people have good memories, fond memories, the first time you got to see Arthas die, when you saw the bitter sadness in his eyes upon his death. And there's just so much fun stuff to do in Wrath of the Lich King, both the first time around and in 2023. My main concern with Wrath of the Lich King Fresh is it is the end of the Classic journey, and then after that is Cataclysm Classic, and I honestly don't want them to do a Cataclysm Fresh again within 3, 4, 5 years, however long it takes them to get to that Wrath of the Lich King Fresh experience. But I'm not going to talk about Cataclysm Fresh because that just seems so far-fetched and out of the way, even though it might actually happen based on what is coming. But Wrath of the Lich King Fresh itself will be fun, it'll be enjoyable. I might skip it again this time around. Wrath of the Lich King, as fun as it is, just isn't as fun to me as TBC and Classic is. Still an amazing game mode, the people that play it will love it, and I hope after the fact they get a Wrath of the Lich King Era server to keep playing permanently so they can enjoy the game mode just like Classic Era players, and then hopefully TBC Era players will be able to enjoy their game modes. Because as much as people love their particular game mode, when there's no Era server left of it, you can't enjoy. You have to go to private servers, and a lot of players just won't play private server. Even Nostalrius, perhaps the most popular private server to ever private server, had about 100,000 players signed up at max. Compare that to any random SOD server, heck even Classic Era has more players than Nostalrius. Because being official means so much more to the player base than playing on a private server. People are worried, they don't want to play it, they think it's kind of janky, this or that. They have their concerns and they won't do it. But they will definitely play an official Era server permanently and over again. Now, before I cover a season after SOD or Classic Plus, I do want to talk about something that people have talked about and actually really want, and that is the continuous re-release of the Classic Trilogy Fresh every 3 or 4 years. And I don't know if Blizzard will do this one. This one here is mild copium, but maybe they'll see the player base constantly replaying Fresh Classic, Fresh TBC, Fresh Wrath, and maybe they'll actually do this. But they want essentially a 3-year, 4-year plan where it's 12 to 16 months of Classic, then 12 to 16 months of TBC, then 12 to 16 months of Wrath, repeating. constantly, over and over and over again. Again, I don't know if the devs will ever actually do this. They might do Era, but this one seems far-fetched, but I think the player base would genuinely love and want this. Now, if the devs do listen to the player base, and I believe they do, because they talk to the player base, they're constantly discussing, they even play their games, and they actually partake in the content they push out to us. So if you are listening, the player base does want a continuous fresh re-release. I don't know the resources you have at your disposal, but this is something people want. Now, maybe they'll be able to do this depending on the success of other game modes, but please consider that people do genuinely want this. Now though, we're going to talk about the next season after SOD or Classic Plus. Now, the OR there is doing a lot of heavy carrying. And what exactly do I mean? We're either getting another season and then Classic Plus, or we're just getting straight Classic Plus. Now, the devs recently confirmed that we're getting Classic Plus. They did it in a very roundabout manner, but Classic Plus is coming. They didn't say a when, they didn't say a how, they didn't even say a why, but we are getting it. So what exactly does that look like? Now, I'm going to cover another season into Classic Plus first, just to give my thoughts on this. Because while we know Classic Plus is coming, I believe that we might be getting another season in between to give the devs breathing room to actually go there and plan and build out Classic Plus features such as Hyjal, Grimbatol, Uldum, Isle of Lapidus, and so many other locations that just need to be fleshed out and actually properly designed. So what would this new season be? Realistically, it's going to be some kind of classic season where they just focus on things, for example, new world bosses, dungeons being harder, for example, hard modes, and just the raids being easier or flexible. They're probably just going to try to wing it and just drag it out long enough to have time for Classic Plus. Or they'll take the slightly cheaper and easier route and do a TBC SOD. What would that even look like? I have no goddamn clue. It could be amazing, it could be terrible, but this is again a hypothetical scenario where they're trying to drag out time so they can build out Classic Plus. Like I said, a new season isn't realistic. They're probably just going to jump into Classic Plus, especially with the new resources they've been given. So we're just going to jump right into Classic Plus and what that will be and what that will look like. So I have to give everybody a disclaimer. This is a guess. Every single person talking about Classic Plus is guessing. But I'm going to give you some examples and theories about why I think what I'm saying will come to fruition. Classic Plus is just a finished vanilla. So what does that mean? It essentially means finishing zones like Hyjal, finishing Grimbatol, finishing Uldum, finishing all the questlines that were left unfinished in the open world. The Dark Iron Highway, for example, inside BRD. BRD was meant to be much bigger. For example, Molten Core initially was meant to be part of the Black Rock Depths dungeon, but then they made Molten Core a raid because Blackwing Lair wasn't ready for launch. So then what happened afterwards? They just scrapped and never finished the lore and ideas they had initially. Now, Blizzard has so much to pull from here, especially if they get to do an alternate timeline, because a lot of people don't like the current canon lore. The canon lore to many people, myself especially, is honestly terrible. There are some good parts, there are some good elements, storytelling is good. For example, the Wrathgate is amazing, but I just want them to do a fresh universe, a fresh lore, and let Agron and the dev team cook up their own storylines. I would love to see more about the Night Elf Separatist movement like it was meant to be in the original storyline. I want to see more about what's behind the original Uldum, the Kazan, and the Undermine. There are so many story avenues for them to continue, and that's what Classic Plus should be. A finished version of Classic. Again, the devs have done a decent job with SOD. They've been trying, they've been experimenting. Some things have fallen flat, some things have been great. For example, Phase 3, it was atrocious. Phase 3 was boring and it almost killed Season of Discovery. But Phase 4 has been fun. Phase 4 has been entertaining. Phase 4 has been engaging. It's not perfect. They could have done things better. For example, BRE's launch and the mountain itself being an inhospitable hellhole. But they try to fix things quickly and they do what they can with their limited resources. Now, Classic Plus seems to have Blizzard's official support, so I assume they'll have more devs, a bigger art team, just the resources they need to actually make Classic Plus Classic Plus. Overall though, everything I say about Classic Plus is just theory crafting. I can give you good evidence for why they'll do things, but at the end of the day, the devs can do whatever the hell they want. I can't even prove anything except that Classic Plus is coming. Again, like I said, the whole goal of Classic Plus is to finish off Classic. So that's what's going to happen. What that will look like, we'll find out in the coming months and years. Now, realistically, 2025 isn't going to be the most packed year. We might get Classic Fresh, we might get TBC Fresh, we might get something of that nature. Realistically, we're getting Mop Fresh towards the end of 2025. Overall though, I am excited about the future of Classic. I'm not excited to play every single upcoming Classic game mode, but I am excited to try out a lot of them. And I believe in the dev team. Controversial opinions, some people may hate that, some people may call me a shill for that, but I think the dev team is doing a good job and I want to give them a chance. I want to see them play out their creative vision and show us what they're cooking. So thank you all for watching. If you liked the video, please subscribe. If you hated the video, subscribe anyways. What do you have to lose? Thank you all. Ebenhard out.